Tuesday morning. It's McCollum on Business. I'm Stephen McCollum, and for the next 30 minutes or so, I'm going to get you updated on what's happening around the business world. Hostilities. People are asking for a 10-day truce over there, I guess I should say, in those hostilities in the Middle East. How's that affecting the market today? Well, we'll check when we look at the market watch, stocks we're paying attention to, and of course, all the local and national stories that you need to know. And I'm making up for the missing food stories yesterday by bringing in a couple of them here later on in the program. Burger King, no, they're doing something different here. If you're not happy with their food, I'll tell you about that later on in the show. And man, there's a chain out there that's expanding beyond belief and having a lot of success. We'll talk about that coming up as well. And then, of course, right, tariffs have always been a concern. Top story today will be on the tariffs. We wake up today to some imposing tariffs and things coming our way. We know it's coming with more, you know, um, dozens of countries based off of those labor laws and unfair treatments. All that's in the news here today. So let's start it off with that market watch. Even with all of that news there, stocks opened higher today. Chip makers, strong earnings reports from a lot of companies, all up today as well, causing the market to be up here today. Even with all the kind of uncertainty out there, the S&P 500, I'm sorry, the Dow Jones, we always start with that, up 169 points right now, 52,067. The S&P 500's up 32 points to 7477. The Nasdaq's up 189 points to 25,697. Then you got the Russell 2K, that small cap index. It's up 17 points to 2959 for the small cap index as well. And then Bitcoin, look at this, making a surge today for Bitcoin, back up to 66,800. We haven't seen it at this level in quite a while, to be honest with you. And it's making its little surge back up. We'll see if it stays up there. Does it drop back down? Well, only time will tell. But at the beginning of this week, at least Monday and today, positive news there for Bitcoin. Stocks we're paying attention to in this first part. First one, Utz Brands out there. They're a potato chip pretzel maker. UTZ Brands is how it's spelled there. They agreed. Now look at this, up 89.06% today, folks. They agreed to a buyout from a company from Germany, Inner Snack Group. The buyout's going to be for $14.25 a share in cash. The deal's expected to close in the fourth quarter. Coming up here. So buyout opportunity, well, and they're up 88.99% here today. I mean, that's an astronomical number here to be up based off of the buyout news. And it's going to be a German company that's going to own them if it continues to go this way as well. Next stock that we're paying attention to here today, Domino's Pizza. By the way, stocks are kind of favored the food today for some reason as well. I guess I'm overcompensating for not having any food stories yesterday. Domino's is up 0.62% right now for them. Domino's posted second quarter earnings of $4.07 per share. Well, that did miss the consensus. The estimated amount they were looking for was $4.17 per share. They did have revenue of $1.19 billion in pizza, folks, right? Yeah. Yeah, that did beat the expectation level of $1.18 billion. So they did beat revenue, did not get the earnings per share. And they're up today 0.98% for Domino's. And then Taiwan Semiconductor, obviously a large presence here in Arizona. They're planning on spending a lot of money here in Arizona and expanding their presence here. The next stock we're looking at, 3.76% up right now. A company, a media company, I should say, Nikkei Asia. I know I'm screwing up that name. I apologize. But they came out and reported that Taiwan Semiconductor will raise prices for chip making services by up to 10% next year, right? Lots of demand for making chips. They do a lot of chips for the NVIDIA, those types of big companies needing a lot of chips. So price increase coming from Taiwan Semiconductor for next year. Obviously, that'll help their bottom line, if the markets continue to go the way it goes as well. When we come back later, we're going to look at a steel company, Steel Dynamics, a company called Crown Holdings. They are a supplier of beverage and industrial packaging. Then we're going to look at Cracker Barrel. Been a while since we've talked about Cracker Barrel. Last time, a lot of negativity as we were focusing on them a lot at the end of last year. And we'll look at them again here today as they're making waves out there. But first, we wake up this morning. It was late yesterday, but if you missed it, President Trump did come out and impose 50% tariffs on most Canadian goods. Yes, by doing so, he's declared that Canada has unfairly discriminated against American autos, alcohol, and dairy products. The move, well, this is the first of, or one of the first few here of a new wave of tariffs coming our way, and this leads to economic uncertainty, which means there's risk of higher inflation, further fraying of relations between the US and Canada. You know, uh all of this could be on the brink again as we saw at the beginning of last year when the tariffs went into effect. The administration official that previewed the tariffs, 50% tariffs, said Canada was one of the only nations other than China that retaliated against Trump's previous tariffs, and they said that Canada must be held accountable for doing so. This new 50% tariffs are going to exclude energy products, potash, fish, critical minerals. Those are all going to be excluded, but they would include goods that had previously been protected from import taxes by the USMC agreement, right? That's being negotiated right now as well. Oof. So that's the 2020 trade pact. It was not renewed by the U.S. and it triggered a new set of negotiations that they have now until like 2036. So these 50% tariffs in Trump's mind, I guarantee you, are part of this negotiation as well. Well, the White House said in a fact sheet that the tariffs would go into effect in 30 days. Well, that means there's time to negotiate between Canada and the U.S. as well. And then, as we know, Trump does these types of things and then they negotiate and a lower number comes in as well. So we'll have to see how this plays out. But Canada, 50% tariffs coming without the negotiation as of right now. And let's go from that crappy situation. I know I used that transition yesterday, but I don't know how else to do it. Yeah. And then go to this crappy situation. Federal health officials came out yesterday. Remember, we told you Taylor Farms? Well, they came out and said that there's a false positive from Taylor Farms, but health officials did say yesterday they remain focused on Taylor Farms as the source of the multi state outbreak of that parasite that causes explosive diarrhea. Sorry if you're eating breakfast. I apologize. So they say it was inaccurate test results that the government briefly publicized over the weekend. So FDA officials said a laboratory test incorrectly identified a positive result of that Cyclospora on a sample of lettuce from Taylor Farms. The FDA posted the finding to its website on Saturday, but then Sunday they said that the result had a false positive. Everybody ran with it. Federal and state authorities have been investigating that big rise in the parasite. So, 5 states was the initial linkage for lettuce served at Taco Bell locations. Well, on Saturday, Taylor Farms went ahead and announced it was recalling 25 shredded lettuce and salad mix products sold under 8 different brand codes. The products are used by a number of U.S. food chains and suppliers. We told you the big one, Cisco, the big supplier, distributor, stopped using Taylor Farms iceberg lettuce products as well over the weekend. So, in addition to tracing the supply chain of lettuce, FDA staff have begun testing samples of products coming across the U.S. border because they think that it's a Mexican version brand of this lettuce coming across the border is what is leading to this as well. So, false positive, but they still think it's Taylor Brands is where it's coming from as well. So we'll have to see here as we continue to try to find where that parasite is coming from. Don't eat iceberg lettuce in the meantime. I'm not an iceberg lettuce fan anyway. I can't stand it. I like the green leafy lettuces and stuff. So, but don't eat it is what I would say. Don't risk it. Hey, a U.S. district judge. Well, he said he was going to rule here by July 22nd. And he ruled yesterday, yes, temporarily halting The Paramount Skydowns Warner Brothers Discovery merger. The judge did this yesterday. This is after those 12 states sued to block the deal. This temporary restraining order will remain into effect for 14 days. What I don't get is this company isn't closing in the next 14 days. So what's the point of it? Yeah, a hearing is set for August 3rd. The state's lawsuit, quote, presented compelling evidence that the combined firm resulting from the transaction will possess substantial market share in the wide release theatrical distribution market, which is interesting because they said they're going to produce more movies as a combined entity than they did before. California District Judge is the one that wrote in their ruling on this. It's going to be overruled in an appeals decision, probably. It's usually how these things go. We'll have to see. The ruling went on to say on this combined firm market share alone, the court is persuaded that it can presume the proposed merger will likely to violate antitrust laws. Keep in mind, there's a reason they're doing this in California. Favoritism against that over there in California. Like I said, we'll see how the broader side of it goes. The ruling went on to say Paramount and Warner Brothers will continue to operate as separate, viable companies competing in the marketplace while they wait for the court to adjudicate this case. Attorneys generals, this is, like I said, this is the one where the attorneys generals in 12 states. It's led by California Attorney General, but Arizona is one of those 12 as well out there. That's the case we're talking about. The Paramount Skydance spokesperson did call the state's antitrust arguments, quote, without merit. That's been their stance all along from them as well. So they say they're going to vigorously defend it, but the longer this goes on, somebody's going to get cold feet, you would think, right? Moving forward. And also, speaking of lawsuits, seem to be flying all over the place these days. Where Novo Nordisk, they came out and they actually sued their biggest competitor in those GLP-1 drugs. Yeah, they sued Eli Lilly earlier, yesterday, I believe it was when it was officially filed. And why are they suing each other? Nah, it's not about the drugs, copyright drugs, or anything to that effect. No, Novo Nordisk says Eli Lilly is using false and misleading advertising, which compares the effectiveness of the drug company's respective injectable weight loss medicines. The lawsuit was filed in U.S. District Court in New Jersey, and it says Lilly's ads are, quote, deliberately simple and deliberately false. They say they tout outdated clinical trials that compare the highest doses of the Lilly medicines to lower doses of lower doses of Novo Nordisk medicines, and this is the injectable one, is what they're saying here. Novo said the ads are deceptive because they present results as, quote, proof of broad product level superiority while bearing or omitting critical clinical context, unquote. Yeah, Novo Nordisk senior vice president of their group general counsel, he says Lilly's ads have misled consumers in a large function. So, like I said, they're not suing over stopping, Eli Lilly from selling their weight loss drug and things. They're asking the judge to issue a permanent order requiring Lilly to pull its comparison ads across all platforms, is what they're looking for. It wants the court to order Lilly to conduct a corrective advertising campaign as well, so they can say, hey, we lied about our other ones. Now, these two are locked in a big battle here, and, intense battle over the marketing of those GLP-1 weight loss drugs. Folks, these are big dollar drugs. Obesity and type 2 diabetes are what these GLP-1s treat. Now, Norvo was first on the market with its anti-obesity medication that was called Wegovy, or it is called Wegovy. Eli Lilly's version of it was Zepbound, if you want to know the difference here. But Zepbound's sales have surged. Zepbound's sales reached about $4.2 billion during the first 3 months of 2026. That's an 80% increase from 2025, folks. Yeah. Woo. The battle's on for these companies, and 4.2 billion in 3 months. Life's rough, right? Let's turn to the subject of sports here, and we're watching an entity slowly die right in front of us, and another, I'm not going to say nail in the coffin. We might not be to that point yet, but it's a severe setback here for Live Golf. Yeah, Live Golf this morning here in America when they woke up. Well, they took a hit here because the PGA Tour, European Tour, and now the Asian Tour did announce a strategic alliance aimed at global collaboration that's likely to affect the partnership the Asian Tour had with Live Golf. And they're basically Liv's losing a partner here coming up. And keep in mind, Live, if you don't know, is teetering on. Not the PIF is no longer funding them after this year. Money problems, have no place to play. Yeah. So this new announcement this morning for the PGA and the Asian and European tour and the Asian tour, it was takes effect immediately through 2029. So it's not like we started in a year. It's immediately starting. So the PGA Tour and the European Tour will partner with the Asian Tour to help provide commercial and playing opportunities. What it'll do is it'll establish a path for Asian Tour members to join the European circuits, the PGA Tour and the DP World Tour, which is the European Tour, is the DP Tour nowadays. They have a separate alliance that is yet to be renewed, and that includes 10 top European Tour players earning PGA Tour cards after the DP World Tour season. Officials from both tours met at the Brisbane Open, and the alliance with the Asian Tour, along with the PGA Tour's involvement with the Australian Open, well, obviously it all means progress. New deal is coming up here as well, shutting Live Golf out from other partnerships. So it's a big blow to Live Golf. They've had a relationship with the Asian Tour since they launched in 2022. The European Tour had an alliance with the Asian Tour from 2016 to 2021. It actually stopped co-sanctioning Asian tours back in 2022, and that allowed them to partner with the Live Tour and everything. But now Asian Tour is back in play under the PGA and European Alliance. It's expected to have at least two co-sanctioned Asian Tour events each of the next 3 years. So the other things are, that work out of this deal. Asian Tour players have access to European and Challenge Tour events. And but how so? We're waiting for those details to be worked out. Challenge Tour is still a year or so away for the PGA Tour. It's just they're splitting the PGA Tour into two deals. But Live Golf, another, like I said, nail in the coffin might be a little too early for that, but definitely the lid's closing on that Live Golf coffin here as well. All right, folks, we don't know who bought them. I got a bunch of auction stuff for you here today, but I know it's some genius here that watches this program here, McCollum on Business. A lightsaber with Luke Skywalker's severed hand from The Empire Strikes Back, where he goes, no! When Luke and Darth Vader says he's his father. Well, it sold for $3.75 million yesterday at auction. Was it you? Heritage Auctions is the auction house. They announced the results of its Hollywood and entertainment signature auction that they did yesterday. So this lightsaber was actually used on screen by Mark Hamill in that Cloud City fight. And, as I said, Darth Vader, I am your father. He goes, no. So I was trying to act it out. Last time I just said it. Yeah. It included a sever hand effect, a rig used when Vader sliced his hand off. Heritage says the price was the highest ever fetched for a prop used in a Star Wars film. Other things that were sold, a Wicked Witch of the West. Yeah, that was worn by Margaret Hamilton in The Wizard of Oz back in 1939's showing of that, or filming of that. It garnered $550,000 at that auction. The cocoa colored top hat worn by Gene Wilder in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory back in 1971 when that was filmed. It went for $350,000. More modern stuff. Daenerys Targaryen's a chest with dragon eggs inside. Well, that was from the first season of Game of Thrones. It fetched $312,500. That one actually was one I would want, not for that price, but that's the one I would want. And then even two rugs associated, essential to the plot of The Big Lebowski, which I get people love that movie, but I think it is. The one belonging to Jeff Bridges, the dude, you know, that they say really tied the room together. Well, it's soiled at the beginning of the film. It went for $350,000. The nicer rug that he takes from his, you know, uh, whoever that was, the wealthier person, right? It did it more. It was worth 375,000, which goes to show you, folks, unsoiled things go for more than soiled things here as well. Yeah. By the way, the rugs did go for more than expected. Bidding began on each at 15,000 for the rugs, and they were bid up to 350 and $375,000. Money laundering. Somebody's hiding money from somebody in order to buy that stuff out there. Ethan says, I wished I got the lightsaber. Yeah, so we know Ethan didn't get it. I know I didn't get it. Which one of you got there out there? And even Ann says, I wish I would have purchased the Star Wars prop. I'm not a prop guy for that stuff, but I ain't gonna lie to you. That would be cool to have. That one would be cool to have with the hand, the severed hand associated to it. Different than just having an actual lightsaber from the film. I do like that a lot, to be honest with you as well. Hey, when we come back here at McCollum on Business, we keep it rolling. A couple local stories. We got Arizona's unemployment rate. We know what the national one has been. We reported on to you here at McCollum on Business. But we got the Arizona breakdown. We'll tell you what's happening specifically in the state compared to the national side. Plus, Burger King's doing something for you, folks. And man, you can't get enough of wings out there. We'll tell you which place you go to for wings and their expansion. We'll tell you about that as well. Come on back, McCollum on Business, Tuesday edition. Welcome back here to McCollum on Business Tuesday edition. Appreciate you joining us here, 7 a.m. Don't forget, this is our last week of only working Monday through Thursday. Yeah, starting next week, we'll be back to the 5-day-a-week schedule coming up for you. So we're here, today, tomorrow at 7 a.m., and of course, Thursday at 7 a.m. live here on YouTube. Join the YouTube chat like Ethan and Ann did as well. And also said so many good props that would be fun to own. I know just the fact that the soiled rug went for less than the unsoiled one just kind of makes me giggle a little bit out there as well. Join that chat right now, and of course we roll into the main event right after this program as well. Live 8 to 10 a.m. Me and 17-year veteran Dale Hellestrey get you around the sports world. Some local sports talk, of course, as always. Bruce Cooper should come in today as well and join us as he does on Tuesdays. So join us over there live on YouTube as well. If you missed any of our programming, our live programming, well, you can catch it on demand on YouTube as well, including the Pit Stop. New episode out tomorrow on Wednesday as well. Some IndyCar drama yesterday with how they kind of screwed up that Nashville weekend. We'll talk about that. And, of course, the NASCAR weekend in North Wilkesboro. The Pit Stop tomorrow will be out usually by 2 o'clock as well. And then, of course, The Real Matrix. That's the only show not on the YouTube page. The Real Matrix is over at Rumble. All of our programming is on demand at Rumble as well. And it's on Rumble, rumble.com/user/TME Media is where you can find our programming. Right above all the videos that pop up there, it's a convoluted mess that Rumble does. Right above that, there's a channel button. Click on that, and you can pick the show that you want to catch up on. Real Matrix comes out, new episode, noons on Friday. Come and catch that as well. All the shows except for this one do have podcast versions of it, audio podcasts. Just go to your favorite podcast system and just search the show's name, whether it be The Real Matrix, Angry Patriot, The Pit Stop Talk, or The Pit Stop with Steven. The main event is also there as well. The main event with Steven or the main event with Dale. They pop right up for you and you can catch it. This show, well, no podcast for this show, no social media for this show. It is here and ready to go. We're working on some fun little stuff here with this show on the social media side. All the other shows though do have social media. Just search for those names. And of course, TME Media AZ. Give that a follow on X as well. It's just our parent company, and it tells you what we do around here as well. It doesn't post too often. We don't want to bombard you with things. But give that a follow so you're updated on what we're doing around here. And we'd love to work with you. If you have any ideas or want to get involved in anything, whether it be a once a month show, a one time only show, well, we do all that work as well. We produce about 4 shows right now that we don't put out. We just produce them and we send them off to their entities like the Holmberg Sports Podcast. That goes over to Hubbard Radio as soon as we're done recording it and producing it. And then they put it out. Folks, what we do around here. So come and join us if you're interested in that side as well. And with all that being said, let's get right back into that Market Watch. And markets are still looking good today. Chip makers are up, strong earnings on a lot of companies. You know, the tariff news out of Canada and the hint here, and we know it's coming. Trump tariffs are coming on dozens of countries. The White House is saying expect action soon on that as well. Coming up here, the U.S. is still striking Iran, although mediators are pushing a 10-day ceasefire. More countries in that region are getting Qatar's been being hit now. Saudi Arabia's shipping levels are being threatened. We'll have to see kind of where that goes coming up here as well. Thing to watch today on the market, SpaceX sets earnings date, and it triggers the first unlock for millions of shares. How many people are going to unload their SpaceX stock with the first opportunity that they can and get that money in hand? Well, that'll be an interesting time on the stock market day as well for that SpaceX stock. All of that's out there, and the Dow Jones is up 278 points right now. The S&P 500 is up to 47. Nasdaq's up 267 points, and then the small cap index, the Russell 2K, that's up 25 points here on this Tuesday. Bitcoin getting kind of a rally here this week, all the way up to 66,707. Obviously not a record because that record's like 112,000, but Bitcoin has been trending up here at the end of last week, beginning of this week for that cryptocurrency as well. Stocks we're paying attention to right now. First one we're going to look at is a steel company called Steel Dynamics. Well, they're up 2.43% here today. Their latest earnings did beat top and bottom lines for the steel company, but they posted an additional non-cash impairment charge of $16 million. That didn't affect the stock here once the market opened. 2.43% up here for Steel Dynamics on their reporting. Then you've got a beverage and industrial packaging company. They supply all that stuff. We're talking about Crown Holdings right now. Well, they're up 3.45%. They posted a beat on the top and bottom lines. Of course, the second quarter reporting. Crown posted earnings of $2.49 per share. Revenue was $3.67 billion. The expectation was only $3.37 billion, so big hit for them as well. And they had earnings per share of $2.16 per share was the expectation. They came in at $2.49. Huge numbers for Crown Holdings, especially beverage and industrial packaging company, 3.45% up here today. And then everybody's down-home restaurant, Cracker Barrel, Old Country Store is what we're going to look at next. They're down 0.77% here today as well, which is interesting. Pre-market, they were actually up. about 1% as the markets open. They've kind of had this sell off here. Well, what they did was they came out and said that they expect to achieve or exceed the high end of its revenue range. And they also said they plan to exceed its adjusted EBITDA outlook for fiscal 2026. By the way, their fiscal 2026 ends on July 31st. So we're just a couple weeks out, or what, a week and a half out or so. So they're saying they're going to exceed the high end of things and exceed its outlook as well on the EBITDA. Well, they're down 0.77% here today based off of that good news coming out. I don't know if there's skepticism on if Cracker Barrel is going to be able to do it. I don't know if it's that. I don't know if it's some other reason that's kind of leading them down here today. Of course, if you haven't been following, I mean, there's no reason to follow it, but definitely Cracker Barrel has rebounded from that huge blunder they had last year with that CEO in there and things to that effect. And we know the national unemployment rate and everything, and um, you know, it fell, for the month of June. We tell you that here on McCollum on Business when it came up. But speaking specifically about Arizona, we know Arizona specifics, and the unemployment, well, it actually went upwards here in Arizona to 4.9%. So between May and June, the state's unemployment rate went up by 0.1%. It went down nationally in the same amount there, as we told you. I believe it was last week when we got those numbers. The agency reported that Arizona's seasonally adjusted labor force, well, it fell by about 73,000 jobs. That's about a 2% drop since last June as well. So the Arizona unemployment numbers, not as good as the national ones here, as we know for the month of June now, moving forward. And then, yeah, betting times. Yeah. A window is set now to open a mid-August as when the window's going to open. Get your pennies together here, folks, because these are expensive. Yeah, Arizona's off-track betting sites. They're going to be able to apply for a state license to run a limited sports book. Off-track betting lets patrons in bars or restaurants throughout Arizona gamble on horse and dog races. That happen elsewhere, like in New York, for instance, like the Kentucky Derby. State law says these establishments can also apply for limited event wagering licenses that would allow them to take bets on other sports on site only. State gaming regulators can actually issue about 10 of those licenses, or up to 10. They're opening a 2-week window to apply on August 13th. Officials say awarding licenses would generate monthly revenue for the state. There's an 8% tax on that, on the gambling companies. So now soon, your favorite on-site, off-site betting company for these horses might be able to start taking your bets on the Super Bowl, World Series, for instance, and things to that effect. If that matters to you, well, there you go, folks. It is coming up for you as well. And Americans, we can't get enough of our chicken wings out there, or buffalo wings, whatever you want to call them. Yeah. And the company that's dominating that field is a company called Wingstop. Fantastic wings. They're big wings compared to everybody else. They're meaty. They're they're Tyson wings, by the way, from what I've seen on TikTok, if that's true. But they opened Wingstop opened more new restaurants than any other U.S. chain in 2025. They added 382 locations. Folks, that beat heavyweights like Chipotle, Starbucks, Chick-fil-A, Taco Bell as well. Yeah. That's first place ranking and new openings. Comes as Wingstop continues its rapid expansion that it's employed in. So Wingstop had 785 locations when it went public back in 2015. So they now have, after 2025, 3,056 restaurants worldwide. So, yeah. Fastest growing restaurant chain in America, all because of those new locations they opened last year. So like I said, there's some big ones. Dunkin's expanding huge. Jersey Mike's is in a huge expansion right now as well. So here's the numbers. Wingstop opened 382 new locations. We told you that. Even second place was Chipotle, 294 locations, or Chipotle, as I love to call it a little bit there. There's a big gap between Wingstop and Chipotle's openings there as well. Closely behind Chipotle is something called Seven Brew. I haven't heard of that before. Jersey Mike's is right behind that. It's at 238 openings, and then Dunkin' at 231 is now. So, just to give you an idea of how big Wingstop's expansion's going, 2023 they opened 205 stores. 2024 278, and then another 382 last year. They're expanding in huge numbers as well. So in terms of that growth, as well. So yeah, there you go. Oof. They're beating those heavyweights. I mean, there's a Starbucks on every corner. Well, pretty soon there's going to be a Wingstop on every corner if they keep expanding to these levels. And then, folks, Burger King's coming out and they're doing something that I find admirable. Well, the problem is it's gotten too expensive. But Burger King's unveiling the Whopper guarantee, folks. Yes, a guarantee for your Whopper. So it's all to improve customer satisfaction and everything. They will remake any unsatisfactory Whopper for free and offer guests a complimentary Whopper on their next visit. So if you get a bad Whopper, they'll remake it and give you a coupon for another free one next time you visit. Yeah. It's a Whopper guarantee, and it's launched alongside a new team of employees called Your Way Champions. They'll be specifically dedicated, these new employees, or these employees with the title of Your Way Champions. They're going to be dedicated to addressing customer needs rather than just overseeing the restaurant operations out there. Yeah. I got to commend them for improving the customer service and quality that they have in their restaurants as well. So this comes because 4 months ago, Burger King launched a listening initiative inviting guests to share feedback directly with the company president and gave out his phone number. I'm sure it wasn't his exact phone number, but it was a phone number tied to him as well. The chain said that it received thousands of calls and texts highlighting areas of improvements, and that's where this Whopper guarantee comes from. So there must have been a lot of complaints about the value or the quality of the Whoppers out there as well. So there you go, folks. If you don't like your Whopper, they'll remake it for free, and you'll get a complimentary Whopper on your next visit because you were inconvenienced with the bad burger out there as well. Yeah. So you can literally have it your way now, and if they mess it up, get a free one coming up there as well. So look, not a Whopper guy, never have been. But there you go, folks. Mm, mm. But I do like because now they just kind of roll at you and they'll remake it to you. I don't know about Burger King, but a lot of the fast food places, let me put it that way. Um, you know, you order something, it's not good. You go back in there, which I never do. But I see people go back in there and complain. They just throw you a new one and say, "Get out of here, get out of here, Tiger." Yeah. By the way, the Your Way Champion employees, they'll be identified by a Your Way Champion uniforms. They'll welcome guests in. They'll double check orders. They'll focus on customization requests to make sure that the customization, like you want no gross stuff on it. They'll look over that as well. I wonder if that means they lick it or something. I know I took it too far. I know. I know. My favorite part of this statement, though, Burger King said this, and I highlighted this. Quote, when guests choose us, they expect high quality food, orders made the way they ask, and a team that's there when they need us, unquote. Who goes to Burger King for high quality food? That's all I'm going to say. Where are we going to dinner tonight? We're going to that gourmet restaurant at Burger King. Yeah. Tuesday's edition of McCollum on Business is in the books. Appreciate you guys joining us out there as well, guys and gals. There, hey, whoever bought those auction items, I want to know what the soiled rug looks like for 350 grand. Send me a picture. I'll keep you anonymous. We'll see you tomorrow, folks. 7 a.m. McCollum on Business. Main event coming up next. Come and join us live here on YouTube or, of course, on demand whenever you can watch it as well. We'll see you tomorrow, everyone.